You are now listening to WSN, Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes and the best interviews in college radio.
Hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more energy. This is Sports Pack. Yeah, there we go.
Home of the hottest takes and debates.
There is no way I'm going to sit here and roll with Jared Stidham and Aiden O'Connell.
Richard.
There's just no way.
And the best interviews in college radio.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
You know what time it is. Wolf's Country.
Let's ride.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday edition of Sports Pack. As always, I'm thankful for y'all tuning in, and I am your host, Richard Reed, joined by John Howley,
Hello.
Jackson Schrader, and
Let's
I know
go.
this does not look like Carly, because it's not.
You sure?
It is a great friend on the show and soon-to-be graduate from the Wolf Sports Network WIT program, Brandon Dyer. He'll be filling in for Carly for tonight's entire episode while Carly's out traveling. She'll be at Big Noon Kickoff out there in Colorado. You'll hear more from Carly soon. But how y'all feeling tonight, y'all?
Like $1 million, baby.
You got me hyped up for the show. I love it.
Brandon, how's it feel to be back, man? We love having you on here, man.
Oh, it feels great to be back. I'm ready to give some pretty good takes on this show tonight that we have going on. So
It's gonna be a
Let's
great
get
time.
it.
I cannot wait. We have a lot of sports to get into.
yeah,
a
buddy.
very, very solid college football weekend. As always, West Georgia athletics. We have a big time fight coming up with one Mr.
we
Mike Tyson going to fight Jake Paul tomorrow night. A monster NFL weekend, a really big time blockbuster Thursday night football game as well. Got a couple call-ins on deck, but before we get started, we got to talk some UWG.
Is Widener rolls to the right. He's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it. And it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
We are one, but not 1-7. We're currently sitting at 3-7 this football season, and our last Division One football game of our first ever D1 season is tonight. But it's not at home. It is all the way out in Mormontown, St. George, Utah, where our West Georgia Wolves are taking on the Utah Tech Bison this Saturday, November 16th at 4 p.m. Mormon time. It's a very interesting game. Our last game of the season and our last conference game. I mentioned a minute ago, our West Georgia team is 3-7. All 7 of those losses have come in conference play. And none of them have been very pretty. Early on, we started saying, you know what, man, if they can fix this, this, and this, boom, we got us a winning team. Well, we said that every single week. So when you say that every single week, that these couple things need to be fixed and now we're winners, you start to question can this team really be a winner? Or is this just an imperfect and flawed team? Which is fine. It's expected. First year in Division One, entire new coaching staff, half of the roster's brand new. It's expected, but disappointing nonetheless. It's been exciting. We've had our ups and we've had our downs. I would love to end it on a high note, though, with our first ever Division One win against Utah Tech. Brandon, I'm going to start with you. You've been with us majority of the season. We're 10 games in. You've been to over half of them. What are some things you would love to see from this West Georgia team that you've seen prior this season that could lead to a victory against Utah Tech?
well, you said at the beginning of it we are one. So Utah Tech is also one. They're 1-9 on the season. So
That's smooth.
I think that this right here is going to be, if there was a place for this Georgia or West Georgia Wolves team to step up, especially defensively, offensively, and really any key of the game, it's going to be against this team right here. Because they're not good. They've started 4 different quarterbacks this season, and none of them have a 60% completion percentage.
Oh, boy.
All of them are sub 60%, y'all.
So, I mean, just looking at it from that perspective, we should get it done pretty easily, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Now, Schrader, in order to ensure we do get out of this with an easy victory this season, our first ever conference win, what needs to happen with this Wolves team.
Well, hearing about that offense, the quarterback trouble that Utah Tech's got, man, send the heat, bro. I mean, our defensive line is insane. If we can get the linebackers incorporated in that blitz too, heck, get the safeties, get everybody blitzing, dude. I'm saying engage 8. That's how I win dynasties in college football 25. That's how I make a dynasty. Is just send the heat, and then also, if we could run the ball effectively. I don't know what week in a row I'm on saying that, but run the ball effectively. Just let Jez go eat. He's past 2,000. Let's get him to 2,100. Let's get him to 2,200. Just go out there and run the ball to where we don't have to throw the ball. We throw the ball because we want to throw the ball, and that's how this passing attack would be deadly. Not because it's what we need to do, but it's because it's what we want to do. So just do that, and we'll win this one easy.
John, it's going to be our last time talking about this football game for the foreseeable future. What do you want to see this weekend?
Well, other than a nice W against a 1-9, whatever the heck they are, team, and but really I want to see is solid quarterback play, and actually we stick with one quarterback for the whole game. I understand we got two very talented quarterbacks, no doubt about it. You got the tall man, Davin Widener. You got Quincy Casey, the mobile man, or Lamar Jackson, the team, you could say, in some sense. But I want to see one solid quarterback throughout the whole team. I want to see the receivers going crazy that game. We have super solid receivers. It's a really great thing to see. And like you said, engage 8. That's going to be that. The DC should look down. Engage 8. Okay, engage 8. That's all we're doing the whole game. We should bring the heat on them.
Coverage?
Yeah, exactly.
Screw coverage, man.
Yeah, screw coverage.
Screw coverage, man. We want to win.
Sacked, I'm just saying.
Yeah, so that's what I want to see. Is my main goal is can we have one quarterback throughout the whole game? That's my goal for that game.
I feel you. That's my goal as well. I love to see it. I love to see us end off this season with a win. It'd be great. We've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs this season, but like I said, it would be great to end this on a high note, getting away with a win against against a 1-win Utah Tech team. I feel like if there's a time to get it, it's now. I would love to see everything. I love to see just everything really come together for this West Georgia Wolves team. Which, like I said, man, look.
It's been a season.
It's been a heck of a season, man.
Yeah.
And I would love to just see them.
One of the seasons of all time.
It's been one of the seasons of all time. I know that's right. So I would just love to see them get away with a win here, see it all kind of come together. And even if it doesn't all come together, it doesn't have to be a perfect game. No games are perfect. But I would just love to see an improvement on this team and to see them take that first step into becoming maybe a force to be reckoned with in the Division I ranks. Also, this past Tuesday, our West Georgia Wolves men's basketball team went on the road to take on the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. Early on in the game, we went down 45-30 at halftime. It was looking ugly. But in that second half, our Wolves team cut it on. We had 3 scores and Colton Griffin, Sheldon Dryden, and Kyrick Davis, excuse me, he has one of those names it's a little difficult to get, have over 15 points. They all balled out. Those guys went hard and came all the way back and only lost to the Golden Eagles with the final score of 76-73. This West Georgia Wolves men's basketball team is 0-3 right now. Have had 3 tough games, lost at Mississippi State, lost at Georgia Tech, and a very close loss to Tennessee Tech on Tuesday. This team looks like they're getting very close. They're on the brink. They're breaking through. They just have to get through the beginning of this very, very grueling schedule, and maybe this team can burst into something special.
Yeah, conference play is really when you're going to want to watch this team. I think right now we're kind of in those money games. We're going places to get money,
100%.
Build the program, but like this team I think is good enough to hold their own in the ASUN for sure.
Oh, yeah, against just about anybody.
Yeah.
Well, but I will say this. There is one team in the ASUN Conference, the University of North Florida, the Ospreys.
Yeah,
they have really turned some heads so far this season. We lost to Georgia Tech by double digits. The game was never remotely close. They beat Georgia Tech, Miranda.
They turned my head by beating Georgia Tech.
Exactly. I know you're a Georgia Tech fan.
That game, what I can say about North Florida is that they shoot threes, and they shoot threes a lot, and they shoot them efficiently.
And that's one thing we've seen with this West Georgia Wolves team these first 3 games. The three-point shot has not been able to go in. When they've been able to get in the paint, they've dominated. They're a little undersized, but the mid-range game has been very efficient with this team. But like I just said, the three-point shot has not been there. When you have teams like North Florida in your conference that can hit threes against the best of them and walk away with big-time wins against ACC schools like Georgia Tech,
that's big, bro.
That's scary
massive.
to see.
And they also have a win over South Carolina.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's what they have in the season.
But you know who they lost to? Them dogs out there in Athens, Georgia, baby. There we go. We aren't just a football school. We dominating track and field now. Baseball's on the rise. It's been up, but it's getting better. And we are soon to be a basketball school, baby. I know I might go to University of West Georgia, but you know I got love in Athens. I got deep roots in Athens. This Georgia Bulldogs basketball program is growing. Got a top 10 recruiting class brewing in next year's cycle. Do not be surprised when you see us in the tournament very, very soon. Now, before we move on, I got to say, our West Georgia women's basketball team is going on the road to play Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets tonight. That's going to be a very good game. I'm very interested to see how that goes. I'm not sure how good Georgia Tech's women's basketball team is, but our team isn't half bad. They're currently winless as well, but every game has been very, very competitive, and I look forward to seeing how they play up against big-time ACC talent like the Georgia Tech women's basketball team. I cannot wait to see that game. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I need to drink some water in a second. But look, we're going to take a quick song. We're going to get my voice back together because we have a whole lot more to get into. We've got some call-ins on deck. We're going to talk about this big-time Mike Tyson, Jake Paul match. And we're also going to get into some college football playoff controversy. You are not going to want to miss out. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is 5-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor, and you're listening to Sports Pack, only on the Wolf Sports Network.
Quick reminder for those of you that may be watching on YouTube or Twitch, we are here at Wolf Sports Network are indeed a radio station first. And this little awkward pause that you're hearing isn't an awkward pause at all, but it's a song break. So if you want to hear the great music that we're playing, go on over to wolfsportsnetwork.com and take a listen to the music. And once we come back live in a couple minutes, either stay tuned over there or hop on back over to YouTube or Twitch to see our beautiful faces along with our outstanding sports takes. Excuse me, I had to burp that time. But look. We got a lot to get into tonight's show. It's going to be a jam-packed one. We're going to talk about some controversy in college football. And because of that, I want to talk about some of the games that we might not have time to get to. Like number 20, the number 20 team in the country, the Clemson Tigers, going on the road to take on the also 7-2 Pittsburgh Panthers. That is a very, very interesting game in the ACC. And I get it. Both these teams are 7-2. They might not be the highest-ranked teams in the country. This is still a game to look out for. Because it doesn't matter your record. If you win your conference, you will be one of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff. And because of that, this game is huge because the winner of this game could just about all but punch their ticket into the ACC championship. So this game is going to be big time. Schrader, I don't know if do you have any opinions on this game? Any feels about it?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this game because these are two teams that have kind of taken a big step back. Clemson, after losing, they just lost to somebody.
Louisville.
Louisville, after losing to after getting destroyed by Louisville.
Yeah, they got smashed.
And then Pitt losing 2 in a row. I mean, SMU right into a controversial loss against Virginia. I'm really interested to see who comes out on top here because it has massive implications for the ACC championship.
No, it really
but
does.
yeah, this is a big
time.
game in the ACC championship race.
It's really big time. And it's so strange to see because early in the season we're saying it's between Miami and Clemson. But now it's looking like Miami.
Dude, I don't even know if SMU, I think right now is...
Miami and SMU for the ACC title is going to be incredible. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a second.
Andrew.
Love you guys.
Jackson Vols.
All of
we love you guys. We will see you all next.
Same cast. Same segments. Brand new season. Season 4 of Sports Out of Pocket. Coming fall 2024. Every Wednesday at 5. On Wolf Sports Network.
All right, so look, we got a lot of big time stuff to get into right here. Hold on.
Oh.
We got a call coming in. Hold on. Sports Pack, this is Richard speaking.
What's up, Sports Pack?
Oh, shoot. What's
you
up,
guys
Carly?
may recognize my voice. This is Carly. I just had to check in. I'm currently on my way to the airport. Like I said on Monday's show, I'm headed to Colorado. I'm going to be at Big Noon Kickoff on Saturday. It's going to be so much fun. But since I'm headed to Colorado, I thought it was only fitting to bring up that Lindsey Vonn is coming out of retirement and plans to join the U.S. women's skiing team once again. She's 40 years old, so this is really big in terms of what skiing is going to look like, especially with the Winter Olympics coming up in a couple years. So I want to know y'all's thoughts on that, but yeah, just had to check in. Y'all have a good show.
Look, Carly, if you say it's big time, I trust you. I think it's big time. If we need Lindsey Vonn to come back in order to secure that goal, bring her back. They might want to bring me in too. Look.
They need to bring.
I bet you can ski, brother.
I may be from the South, but boy, they call me the Black Blur when I'm out there skiing. I get it done. You hear me? I slide on them slopes. Hit the skis. Whew. Then I'm down the slope. They call me the Black Blur for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you saw my little ski demonstration. You see, this is what I do.
He's
My
an
form is immaculate. This is what I do, man. I'm a multi-sport athlete. Want me at the U.S. Open? I'm there. Mini golf tournament? I'm a little shaky.
But you'll be there.
Kickball, baseball, football, anything but basketball and golf, I'm your guy. Look me up. Look up skiing Black Blur. You're going to see Richard Reed with these pearly white teeth show up. Now look, we got one other call coming in. Hold on. Hold that thought.
Oh, it could be.
All right, here we go. Hello? Who is this? This is Mike Tyson. This is Mike Tyson. And let me tell you something. Tomorrow night, you better have your TV dialed up to 11 on Netflix because I am going to whoop Jake Paul's. Wait a minute, Mike. I gotta stop you right there.
Hold on
This is still, look, we're a college radio station, yeah, but we can't just go around cussing like that. What are you gonna do to Jake Paul and make it child appropriate? Ain't nothing I'm gonna do to Jake Paul gonna be child appropriate. I'm gonna whoop him up and down the ring, and I'm gonna make his mama wish. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me go hang up the phone right there. Because you can tell Mike Tyson think he got it in the bag.
Yeah,
Look,
clearly.
He's very confident. He said he's gonna beat the brakes off of Jake Paul. But I want to hear what y'all think. Of course, Mike's gonna be confident. If we were able to call Jake Paul in right now, he'd be very confident too. I do appreciate you, Mike, for tuning in though. Much love, man. He's been supporting the show for a long time. We're thinking about naming the show after Mike Tyson. But Schrader,
Yes, sir.
I want to start with you. Who do you think is gonna win this fight? Because I cannot wait to see it tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for this fight. One, because like I watched the that Netflix documentary they did on Jake Paul, and that was like stupidly interesting to hear kind of like
That's hilarious to hear.
how he did the how he kind of became a boxer. He just took like 2 years off, moved to Puerto Rico, and just became a student of the game. Like, he's a promoter first. That's what it'll tell you. So he's doing that job pretty darn well, and he's a half-decent boxer. But Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, and he will bite an ear off if he's got to win. I mean, like, Mike Tyson is... Have you seen what he looks like now? Like, dude is a unit.
Let's say.
His trainers are saying he's in the best shape of his life, which I'm pretty sure they're paid to say that, but they don't look like... It doesn't look like they're wrong. I'm really, really excited for this fight, but I'm gonna go with the youth here. I'm gonna say Jake Paul. I'm gonna go against the grain, but I'm gonna go with the youth. I'm gonna go Jake Paul on this one.
Brandon, are you going to youth too? I mean, people call you the old head of the station, so you going with the youth. That would catch me off guard here.
Listen, everybody has their opinions on Jake Paul. Everybody thinks he's this YouTube celebrity that just got here because he's a celebrity and money and all this other stuff. But that kind of takes away all the training, all the dedication that he did have to put in to even get into a boxing ring
He can
at
box.
this state that he's in. However, It's Mike freaking Tyson, brother.
This is like that Rocky movie, the Rocky Balboa movie, though. Like, this is like
when he fights Creed, the third one.
No,
he's talking about the Rocky Balboa movie.
This is when like 60-year-old
Yeah,
Rocky
he had to fight that
Balboa
kid
goes
straight.
over a charity fight.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing is Mike Tyson's almost 60 years old, and I know he's Mike Tyson, but I don't know what Mike Tyson we're getting. We haven't seen Mike Tyson box in a little bit.
Father Time is undefeated. John?
I remember when this fight was announced way back when, and I remember you and I were talking about this, I think, last semester. And the one thing you told me about Mike Tyson is he still trains like a boxer to this day. He does not give up on his boxing efforts. He always trains as he is. And we've seen of course we saw what he did when he was way younger, the beast that he is. But from what I've seen, I know it's just a couple videos on social media. I like what I'm seeing in Mike Tyson. I think it'd be awesome. Mike Tyson kicks Jake Paul's butt, So I'm rolling Mike Tyson here. Bite the ear off, man.
Look, I've listened to everything y'all have had to say. I've listened to all sort of professionals. I got a phone call with Max Kellerman after the show tonight where he's going to walk me through a lot of what needs to go right for both guys here. Love Max Kellerman, man. He's like the best boxing analyst ever. I miss him on first take. Anyway, I'm buying myself more time here if you can't tell. Schrader, I completely understand where you're coming from. Father Time is indeed undefeated. Shoot, I feel it right now. When I got out of bed this morning, I really felt that 20 years of age, man. My back was hurting.
At the ripe age of 20.
The right old age of 20, man. My knee popped this morning. I'm like, man, something ain't right.
Just once today?
but at the same time, it is Mike Tyson. He's a monster, a beast. He's an annihilator. He is Iron Mike Tyson. And I am Richard Reed.
Yes,
Richard Reed, man of the people. And when I'm looking in this live chat, I see Tyson in all caps. I'm going Mike Tyson. Tyson in 3. Tyson exclamation points. My money is on Mike Tyson. So I'm Richard Reed, the man of the people. He's Iron Mike Tyson. That's Jake freaking Paul. Let's be real. Now, Jake Paul's a big guy. I wouldn't want to fight Jake Paul. Now, if you give me some time to train, I might consider it. Tell me how much I'm getting paid, I will most likely do it. But I wouldn't just fight him in the street. He's a big guy. But that's a big guy going up against a monster, going up against a beast. Like I said, going up against the Annihilator. That is Mike Tyson. So I'm going with Mike, if you can't tell already. My money's on Mike Tyson. Now, if he does lose, we're not even going to talk about ifs, ands, or buts. He's not going to lose. My money is on Mike Tyson. He's going to get it done, hopefully in 3 or 4 rounds, because that's when I feel like Father Time will really start catching up. If it gets to like 5, 6, 7 rounds, that's going to be the problem. He's going to have to get it done and get it done quick. I'm going with y'all. I'm going with the people in the live chat here. I'm going with you, Garrett Walker. Tyson in 3. Now let's talk some college football. Baby, it's college football time. Give me my theme music. Yes.
Yes.
Now, if you are a regular to Sports Pack, you know that typically on Thursdays we go through game by game and make our college football picks. But this past Tuesday, the updated college football playoff rankings came out. If you don't know what that is, it's when on Tuesdays on ESPN they do the selection show. The college football selection committee sits back in a 5-star hotel somewhere who knows where with their identities protected, who knows why. That's a topic for another day, though. And they pick who they feel the top 12 teams in the country are and put up together the seeding for this playoff. So the rankings just dropped, and a lot of people are outraged because the 2-loss Georgia Bulldogs have been left out, and they have a few arguments over some teams that they should be in over. Maybe a Penn State, some teams from the ACC, Boise State. People are looking at this bracket and going, hold on now. We are penalizing this Georgia team for playing a hard schedule. What's the deal with that? So, Schrader, no, Brandon, I want to start with you first. Sorry about that, Schrader. Sorry about that. I started with you last time. But Brandon, I want to start with you. Do you have any problems with the 12-team playoff as it stands right now?
As it stands right now, honestly, I really don't have a problem with everybody that they really do have in there. I think they chose the right decision, leaving Georgia out for right now until this weekend's going to prove a whole lot when they play Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have what I see, I might be biased here, as another quality win against Georgia Tech later on.
That's a good team.
If you guys beat them, we're coming off the win against Miami.
Exactly.
So we've done really good against ranked teams. If you guys wind up beating us, that might help your resume to get in. But you've got to get past Tennessee first. And if you don't beat Tennessee you're not going to get in.
No.
I mean, John, do you agree with the current rankings?
I mean, yes and no. I understand for the Georgia aspect of it. Like, at the end of the day, I get it. Like, yes, we lost to Ole Miss. It wasn't a great game. It's 2 losses now. You know, on here it says 12 for Georgia, but it would be Boise State at the number 12 spot because of the group of 5. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the only thing I'm like a little up on is maybe something in Notre Dame, but and maybe a little something with BYU. But at the same time, they're undefeated except for Notre Dame having 1 loss, and they've been playing good ball. But I just, as of right now, I can understand what's going on there in those 5-star hotels a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay, so let me just say this, because I know assuming isn't good, but Schrader, I'm going to assume that you're okay with how the bracket is right now as well.
Yeah.
Crappy.
Okay, so of course, so cool. So let me move forward. Georgia is currently out. Georgia is a team that has gone on the road or neutral site to start the season against Clemson. Dominated that game. On the road against. It's in Atlanta, but it's still a neutral site. It's over an hour drive to Athens.
On paper, it is neutral site.
So look, on the road against Alabama, they lose. On the road in Austin against the Texas Longhorns, who these people currently have ranked as the number 2 team in the country, they win by 15. Then they go on the road to Oxford to take on Ole Miss, and they lose that game. But they also go on the road to Kentucky and get a very tough win against a Kentucky team that beat this Ole Miss team. So you look at Georgia's strength of schedule. They have the 2nd hardest strength of schedule in the country so far, and they have only 2 losses to show for it. Then you look at these other teams that are currently sitting in the playoff. You have Penn State ranked at number 6, the number 4th overall team in the country with a 6th seed in the playoff. Penn State has played relatively nobody this season. The one tough game that they played was against Ohio State, and they lost what was in ugly fashion. Their best win so far this season was against a 5-loss USC team. And then you even go over to Indiana. Yes, they're undefeated. I love Coach Kirk Cignetti, but who have they played that's been significant? Outside of a Michigan team that is also a 5-loss team, nowhere near the team that they were last year, what have they done? You look at Tennessee. Yeah, they beat Alabama. You know what? You can't really knock Tennessee too much because, yes, they did beat Alabama. But outside of that game against Alabama, they have a very ugly loss against Arkansas. And none of their other wins outside of their nobody school games they played in the beginning of the season have amounted to much. I can't argue against Oregon. They played against they beat Ohio State. They've played some guys. When you're looking at Penn State, Indiana, even a little bit at Tennessee here, how can you justify them being ranked over Georgia right now?
It's quite simple. You're going to penalize teams that have more numbers in the right column, and you're going to reward teams that have more columns in the left. And the only reason I say that is, one, it's week 12. But Georgia's a 2-loss team.
They are.
That's why they're not in.
And I understand what you mean. Look, you have more wins, you have losses. Cool. But are we just not going to take into account who these people are playing? That's why the group of 5
Yeah, but
only
also
has
look
one
at how
auto
Georgia's
bid.
been playing. Georgia has been playing spot-on football for a little bit. Right? That Texas game was great. It was a great win, but it wasn't complimentary football.
But then you just say it's about the wins and the loss. How many wins you have? They have a win against Texas. So it doesn't matter how good or how bad.
But the only reason Texas is number 2 is because are they leading the SEC right now? Are they tied for first in the SEC?
I'll be honest with you.
That's
like BYU's not the number 3 team in the country. They're just number 3 because they're leading the Big 12.
Right, but the thing is, you just said it's about wins and losses.
It is.
So we're not judging the quality of the win, how good this team played. We're just judging the fact that they won. Georgia beat who is currently sitting as the number 2 team in the country right now.
And they lost to sitting at number 11.
Right, but then when you look at Penn State, who have they beaten? They lost to number 5 team, sure, but they haven't played anybody else. They haven't played just exceptions. It's not like they've been just outright blowing out all the people they've been playing
just
against.
Because they got 1 loss, though, and it was a 1-possession loss against the number 5 team.
I get what you mean, but my whole point is the fact that you were talking about the quality of Georgia's wins. Well, the quality of Penn State's wins haven't been great either. I can give you the quality of Indiana's. They haven't played many people, but they've killed them. When you look at a team like Penn State, their quality of win hasn't been that great.
Shoot, they barely beat Bowling Green by a touchdown.
I want to go back to something everybody talked about this offseason.
Talk about it.
And that was conference realignment and adding in Texas and adding in Oklahoma to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC now is at the point to where unless they swallow up Clemson and Florida State, they've swallowed up all the good teams that they can. There's no good teams for the Big Ten to swallow up anymore now, other than Clemson, Florida State, Miami.
Ooh.
So
it's a lot of realignment.
The SEC is in a spot to where the depth of that conference is so deep that they're just hurting themselves.
The depth is the death of the conference.
And I feel like that's the caveat of the SEC right now. You're going to have this tough schedule to play, but you're going to play the same 12 games that like Penn State would play, that Indiana would play. And if you want that big-time money in the SEC, you're going to have to deal with that strength of schedule right there. And if you don't like it, I'm not sure there's a way to leave the SEC. But
and that's the main thing, and that really puts the bow on top of my argument here. So, yes, they are in the hardest conference in the country. So are we really going to penalize them for beating up on each other? If you have 6 of the best teams in the nation in your conference, you're not just going to go through and beat everybody. You're going to slip and fall. You're going to lose some of those games, but you're also going to win some of those games. So how much do we really penalize teams for being in a great conference? Well, Notre Dame isn't in a conference, and they lost to Texas A&M and Northern Illinois University. And they are still ranked.
Notre Dame beat A&M.
They beat A&M.
Notre Dame's a one-loss team.
They beat A&M, but who they lose to? They lost to Northern Illinois. Where is that team now? Northern Illinois isn't one of the better teams in the country. They lost to Northern Illinois, and they're still ranked number 9. I don't understand it. I'm a bit confused by that.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's played really good football. They kind of cleaned up the act since the Northern Illinois loss. They've played pretty darn good football, but I know they're not in a conference. But you're saying, like, why are we penalizing these teams for being in an elite conference, but then why are you going to penalize teams just because they're not in an elite conference? Now
they are in the conference and all. They lost to Northern Illinois.
I'm not talking about Notre Dame.
Georgia
I'm
lost
talking
to
about
Ole
the
Miss
other
and
conferences.
Alabama.
I know, but I'm not just talking about Notre Dame. I want to bring back the point that just because a team's not in the SEC doesn't mean that a 3-loss SEC team should get in over a no-loss or a 1-loss non-SEC school.
Right.
That's just another argument.
But shouldn't you take into account the conference that you are playing in? If you're playing at a higher difficulty level, I feel like this 9-3 team might be better than this 10-1 team right here.
Well, see, that's
because
why,
of who they played.
That's why you guys have 2 losses and are still in the conversation.
Right.
That's why Indiana, if they have 2 losses, they're not in it. Penn State, if they have 2, they're not in it.
Yeah.
Right. If BYU has 2, they're not in it at all. If Miami loses a second
but
one,
if BYU has 1, they're probably not in it.
BYU has 1 loss. They're essentially
done.
out of the conversation.
If Miami loses a second one, the only way they get in is if they win their conference.
Right. And that is the perfect segue into this next topic. Georgia has a big-time home game this weekend at 7:30 against the Tennessee Volunteers. This game is huge. Essentially, win or go home for the Georgia Bulldogs. Because I understand both arguments. I get every angle of it here. Georgia's sitting at a 2-loss team. They're still in the convo. But if they drop to a 3-loss team, it's pretty much all she wrote for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Right.
We got to make some quick picks here. Do y'all think Georgia gets it done this weekend, or will Tennessee will Tennessee find a way to win on the road in Athens?
I think Tennessee's looked way too inconsistent. I think Georgia's look inconsistent, but I trust their defense better than any kind of thing I've seen from Tennessee this year. So I'm picking Georgia on it.
Yeah, Tennessee started off really hot. I just struggle with what I've seen from Georgia since early in the season, just not being able to play complementary football. If Nico plays, I can see Tennessee making this a close one, maybe even winning. If Nico doesn't play, Georgia's going to kill him.
Go Dogs.
I'm with y'all 100%. Tennessee's offense has been too inconsistent. I think Georgia will continue to fight on and find a way to make a push for the playoff, and I think it starts this weekend in Tennessee. Like you said, the Tennessee offense has been too wishy-washy so far this season. I trust the Georgia Bulldogs, even though their offense has still been shaky. Quarterback position's a big-time question mark. I trust that coaching staff a heck of a lot more than I trust what I've seen from this Tennessee team. I think the Dogs are going to get it done. I think it's going to be a very good, probably low-scoring, more like a 28-24 style football game, very entertaining, but I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs to win this. And by the way, do not sleep on that Tennessee Volunteers defense.
Oh, I know. That defense is insane.
That defense is legit. They have a top 5 defense in the country. It's going to be a good game. Georgia's going to have to piece together one of their better games so far this season to win it, but I think they're going to find a way to do it. Now, stay tuned because we're going to take a quick song break. But when we get back, we're going to get into some NFL and make our Thursday night football picks.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
kill more minutes. No, I'm playing. Quick reminder for those of you that may be watching on YouTube or Twitch, here at Wolf Sports Network, we are indeed a radio station first. And right now, this isn't an awkward pause that you're hearing. It's just a song break. So if you want to hear the great music that we're playing, go over to wolfsportsnetwork.com, hit the play button at the top left corner of the screen, or hit play here in the middle of the screen to the great music that we're playing. If not, stay tuned over here and keep listening, because when we get back, we're hopping into some big-time NFL conversation and matchups coming up this season. But while you are here, if you are sticking around, we got a little carried away with our discussion about the college football playoff, so we didn't really get to make the game picks that we intended on making. So we're going to make those game picks now. The 7-2 Colorado Buffaloes, the number 17 team in the country, Coach of the Year, led by Coach of the Year candidate Deion Sanders, and two Heisman Trophy frontrunners in Shedeur Sanders and the one and only Travis Hunter, are hosting the 4-5 Utah Utes. And I know what you're thinking. Why are we talking about a 7-2 team versus a 4-5 team? It's because this is still Utah. Utah is still a very tough team no matter how you slice it. Zach Wilson's younger brother, Isaac Wilson, will be starting at quarterback for them most likely this weekend. He's gotten better and better as time's gone on. It's going to be very interesting to see how this game goes on. Do y'all think the Buffaloes get to 8 wins, or do they slip and fall here against Utah?
You're talking about one of the hottest teams in the country in Colorado and one of the most disappointing teams of the country in Utah, so I'm going to take the Buffs on this one.
Yeah, Cam Rising do what Cam Rising does. He's injured, sitting on the sidelines to watch this game. Dude, Utah's they are falling hard right now. Their athletic director is straight up delusional. I mean,
I saw
clear
that.
holding call, and they didn't score didn't score any points in the second half, and he said this game got stolen from us. That's bogus right there. And Colorado's just on fire, man. So you have to go Colorado here.
I'm rolling with Colorado. Plus, their AD was fined over $60,000, I think, plus amount of that for what he said. And but I'm rolling Sco Buffs.
I was just about to say that. Sco Buffs, I'm rolling with Colorado, too. I would love to see them in the Big 12 championship against BYU. Two completely different schools going head-to-head. That is going to be incredible to watch. Another big-time game. I'm going to make quick picks here. Number 10, Alabama Crimson Tide, at home against the 9-1 Mercer Bears. Look, y'all, Mercer's 9-1. They have a chance to do something very special here. What y'all think?
Yeah, that one loss is against Samford, whom West Georgia beat. So if Mercer beats Alabama, then West Georgia logically is better than Alabama. So give me Mercer.
Exactly.
I'm rolling
we
Mercer
make
too.
our argument for the college football playoff, right?
Yeah,
I'm saying. Look, I'm going to argue. I'm going to play devil's advocate just like I did in that last one. I'm going with Mercer, baby. If Mercer wins,
table?
West Georgia is better than Alabama. Go Wolves.
Because this isn't
not
the
the
end.
No, it's not the end at all.
It's just the beginning.
And this is just the beginning of Triple Threat, taking it live on the airways. So get ready to hear our takes,
Pimento cheese sucks.
and debates, and much more.
In college, what made Johnny Manziel so electrifying, how he got those big plays, was he would snap the ball, wait for the play to break down, and then make the play.
So catch us live on Fridays at 11, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Fantastic news. The deli station is returning to West Commons.
No way.
Build your own sandwich to your liking as you choose from our several bread, meat, and cheese options. More information is located at UWG_Dine_West on Instagram.
That junk's gas.
Look, Dine West is good. It's great. I've been a couple times this week. I went earlier for lunch.
This week.
But what's a little bit better than Dine West
What is it, Richard?
is the NFL, man.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, only one thing matters. Chasing a dynasty. Yep. Let's hop right into it here. The 6-4 Atlanta Falcons, coming off a very disappointing loss to the New Orleans Saints. Now, you can point fingers wherever you want. You can blame Young Wei Koo, but Ho's still cool with me. You can blame a lot of people here. You can blame the New Orleans Saints firing their head coach.
Yeah.
You can blame all kind of people here. It's very interesting. It was a very interesting game. But they have a chance to bounce back here.
Mm-hmm.
Against a very talented 5-5 Denver Broncos team. They have one of the better defenses in the country. This is a team you don't want to sleep on. This team came very close to beating the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Yeah, the Chiefs aren't the greatest team. The Falcons came very close to beating them as well. They're still an undefeated team nonetheless. Lost off a blocked field goal. It's going to be a very challenging game for the Atlanta Falcons. Naturally, I'm going to roll them anyway. I'm still very high on this Falcons team. Them dropping to 6-5 here would be very rough to see. I do not see it happening, but it could happen. On the road in Colorado out there with Carly right now, it's not going to be easy to get this win, but I'm still going with the Falcons here. Brandon?
I'm iffy on this one. I don't know. I'm right down the middle because, as you said, it was disappointing is to put it in an understatement when it came to that game against the Saints last week. And as long as it don't come down to a field goal at the end of it for the Falcons, I think I'm still going to roll with them. I just don't want to put my faith in Young Waku again.
Yeah, I mean, I really
Young Waku. I mispronounced it earlier. My apologies.
Yeah, I really like.
What do you think it was?
I really like this Falcons team, and this Broncos defense is amazing. But the Broncos offense is still a little shaky. It's talented. Bo Nix is having a far better season than we thought he would.
Especially me.
Yeah, you love Bo Nix. But the two teams in their last 5, right? They're 3-2 or 2-3 in their last 5, and the two teams they beat were Carolina and New Orleans, and they dropped 28 and 33. But when they lose, they do not score many points. They score less than 20 points, and I think our defense has what it takes to hold their offense to less than 10 points, honestly. So I'm gonna go with the Dirty Birds. A big rebound game. Kirko's gonna have himself a day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Of course, I'm rolling with the Falcons here, and it surprised me how Bo Nix has actually been playing. I mean, but he's young, and I feel like it's not that they have a good team, but I feel like their team is still young in a sense. Obviously, you have why am I blanking on the head coach?
Sean Payton.
Thank you. You have Sean Payton still getting everything figured out over there. Not that they're 10 games into the season now, but and then I really think it comes down to Bo Nix, and with the team that we have in Atlanta and the way we've been playing recently. Yeah, we probably should have beat the Saints, but heck, we lost. But I think we have a much better team, and our defense will be able to hold out on them for their receivers and their running backs. I think we can really hold out here, and yeah, I'm going to roll the Dirty Birds all day.
Now, another big-time game this Sunday. 4:15 kickoff on CBS. The 8-2 Buffalo Bills hosting the still perfect, but far from perfect, 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs. It's a very interesting game because, yes, the Chiefs are 9-0, the Bills are 8-2, but the Bills are still favored to win this game. ESPN's matchup predictor is giving the Buffalo Bills a 53.1% chance to win it. It's going to be very interesting, but there are some things to look at here. Yeah, the Chiefs have not been perfect, but neither have the Bills. Wide receiver room has still been shaky, and they are very banged up at receiver. Keon Coleman is out so far. Amari Cooper is questionable, leaning more towards doubtful. We're not sure what kind of wide receivers Josh Allen is going to have to work with in this game. Last time we saw him without all the receivers this season, it was a very, very, very ugly game against the Houston Texans earlier this year. So, John, I want to start with you. Do you believe the Bills with the banged-up receiver room can still get it done, or will the Chiefs somehow make it to 10-0?
It's kind of a toss-up game because this game's in New York, and like you said, these teams have kind of questionable. But one thing this week, as I've seen, is Isaiah Pacheco should be returning for this game. Adding Isaiah Pacheco into their backfield again elevates that backfield. We know the little dude runs like a madman.
He runs like he stole candy. He runs like a toddler who has something he shouldn't have.
Exactly. And as of right now, Amari Cooper is questionable. Kincaid is questionable. You lose Keon Coleman. One of your linemen is questionable. And one of your solid linebackers is out right now, but is supposed to possibly return this week. So, for once, just actually picking it, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Chiefs, but they win by 3.
All right. Yeah, I like this game. I like how this is becoming like one of the rivalries in the NFL.
It's a cinema. It's always a cinema.
It is. It's always good. And this one's in the regular season, so because of that, I'm going to have to go with the Bills just because I feel like I've been thinking Kansas City's due for a loss for the last 9 weeks, right? They keep escaping, and the refs keep really keeping them in there. Now, it does take skill to block a field goal, but there was a questionable call earlier in there. But I really like this Bills team, even without the wide receiver room, even if there's injuries there. Josh Allen's been very good at making receivers produce, and they still have James Cook. Like, they still have an offense, even without the receivers. James Cook is very multi-dimensional from that backfield. He can catch, he can run. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. It's a pretty solid defense, so I'm going to go with the Bills here.
I think that, again, as you said, this is one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL right now, if not the biggest one. We always seem to see these teams meet in the postseason. They rarely meet in the regular season.
Yep.
But I think that Mahomes and Josh Allen, they've I'm going to call it as a kind of Brady Peyton Manning of our
I can see
era
that.
I can
right
see
here,
that
right
all
With the
now.
way that they've been meeting in the postseason.
The way they meet in the postseason. Now,
Right. It's getting
granted,
close.
Brady.
We have another guy that's going to shake that up very soon, but we'll get there in a second.
Anyway, so I think Kansas City gets it done on the road, and I think that's just going to make a lot of people mad again because there's going to be something wonky that happens at the end.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Going into this game, I was thinking I was going to pick the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot. I've been doing that with my hands a lot. I'm not making a political statement. I was just, look, it's a good tactic now. But look.
Gets people to listen, I guess.
It sure does.
Listen, I was going to go with the Buffalo Bills here. But after seeing all the injuries in their wide receiver room, that hasn't been a strength for them so far this season. It's going to be a big-time weakness for them this weekend against Kansas City. It's going to be a close game. The Bills' defense is very talented, but I do think the Chiefs are going to find a way to win this game. But I do not think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have a perfect season. I do not whatsoever, because they are a far from perfect team. They are a very flawed team. Every dog has his day. Now, Kansas City's day most likely won't be Sunday. If it is Sunday, if the Bills find a way to win that game, it's because Josh Allen plays at an insane level and elevates all those players on the offense. I can see it happening, but I'm picking Kansas City. I think Kansas City's going to slip up and lose when they take on the Carolina Panthers.
Dude,
Not
Bryce
this
Young.
weekend, but next
Bryce
week.
Young, baby.
Let me tell you. Bryce Young understands it now. It's time. It's game time, baby. If they don't lose this weekend, now if they lose this weekend against the Bills, they're going to splatter the Panthers.
Yeah.
But if they win this weekend against the Bills, they're going to try to overlook the Panthers, and we have a Bryce Young masterclass looming in Kansas City. You are not going to want to miss out on that game right there. Now, boom, let's hop over again. Big-time matchup in the AFC North. The 7-3 Baltimore Ravens, led by the MVP favorite, Lamar Jackson, who has thrown for over 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. And that's not total touchdowns, rushing included. No, those are all passing numbers. He has taken his passing game to the very next level. He's currently looking like the best pure passing quarterback in the NFL right now, if you don't even look at his rushing. That's a conversation for another day. They're going on the road to the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to take on the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers and what is being looked at as the biggest matchup of the season so far. Two juggernauts from the AFC North and also just juggernauts in the AFC. Two teams that are some Super Bowl favorites going into this week right now, squaring off one of 2 matchups they will have this season. Over the past few years, the Steelers have had Lamar Jackson's number. He has not been good against the Steelers at all. But this looks like a new Lamar Jackson. He is playing out of his mind. When you look at the Steelers, so is Russell Wilson. They found it. The moon ball is landing. George Pickens is starting to make the argument. George Pickens is starting to get in the top 15, top 12 wide receivers in the NFL conversations. The running game is better. The defense is outstanding. This is a matchup of the century. And some reason they kick off at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I would have loved it to be a night game, but I'm going to be sitting down watching it anyway. Brandon, I want to start with you.
Yep.
Who wins the first game of this 2-game series this season?
So we mentioned rivalry games, and for me, growing up, it didn't get much bigger than Steelers-Ravens.
Yep.
And now we've kind of recapped back into that to where Ravens 7-3, Pittsburgh's 7-2 right now.
Yep.
You have strength against strength right now. You're going to want to see every single snap of where the Ravens are on offense and the Pittsburgh's defense is out there on the field, and they're going to put on one heck of a show with each other. But I think the Steelers wound up winning this one. It's going to be 20-17.
I like this game. I know it's at previously known as Heinz Field. It will always be Heinz Field in my mind.
Agreed.
But this Ravens team, like they're the reason I am half decent at fantasy right now because I have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry stacked, and it is insane. If you have the opportunity to do it, do that. But I watched Lamar Jackson play, and he is so comfortable in the pocket. He's so confident in his passes. I mean, I don't see him losing every time I watch him play. I just don't see the Ravens losing. I could see him going undefeated the rest of the season, and I'm going to pick the Ravens because, you have the confidence in the passing game with Lamar Jackson, and then you have Derrick Henry behind him.
Yep.
It should be illegal, especially Derrick Henry when you get to the fourth quarter. Like, he doesn't run out of steam. He just keeps going, and that tears defenses apart. So I'm going to go with the Ravens here because I want to.
This this game is a matchup. I'm really excited for it. We've obviously seen the Steelers get better with Russell Wilson, figuring things out, seeing George Pickens have fun, like you're saying, a 12 to 15 receiver right there, breaking into that.
I don't even know what George Pickens does half the time.
Yeah, I mean,
field,
like I said Monday, he turns into an MMA fighter in some scenarios. But I mean, Lamar is playing out of his mind once again, and I know he has to be, with the way this team's playing. He has to be sick of losing to Pittsburgh. I mean, I would if I was him. I would be friggin' having a bunch of screws go straight through my head. And so, yeah, I'm gonna roll the Ravens here, but I'm gonna have it where it says it's a 3-point win. I'm probably gonna go 2017 3-point win right there for the Ravens.
Look, man, I've been singing Lamar Jackson's praises for years on the show, because dang, I have been on the show for years now.
You're an old man, Richard.
Man, I'm getting up there in age, man. I'm hitting unk status
Join
here.
the club, brother.
Whoa,
Look,
unk
man,
status.
I got some ways to go before I get in that club. but I'm getting close nonetheless. And looking at Lamar Jackson this season, this is the best we've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Better than his best at Louisville, better than his best so far in the NFL. He is blowing his last year MVP season stats out of the water. He is playing at an unbelievable level. But the one problem is, unlike all these other years, the Ravens' defense is nowhere near where it needs to be so far. Joe Burrow has thrown for 9 touchdowns against his defense. Yes, they've come away with wins, but one being in overtime and one because of a very questionable 2-point conversion attempt at the end of the second game. Their defense has not been anything to write home about whatsoever. They've stepped up in times, but they haven't been great, and they're banged up. Kyle Hamilton isn't that healthy right now, except for that ankle injury last Thursday against the Cincinnati Bengals. So when I'm looking at this team, I really want to pick them to win this game. But I look at the other side of the ball, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense is getting better and better by the week. Russell Wilson looks great. It looks back to prime Russell Wilson when he was playing in Super Bowls with the Seattle Seahawks. And just like how Russell Wilson was balling back then, he has one of the best defenses in the country behind him as well, led by Minkah Fitzpatrick, Casey Hayward, T.J. Watt. The list goes on. Highsmith over there at the edge, bringing in more guys from the Green Bay Packers and Smith. They have dogs on top of dogs on top of dogs. Joey Porter Jr. at corner. They have a very, very, very talented defense. So in this first matchup, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Okay. They're a very good team. They're a team that's going to be playing deep into the playoffs this season. But I fully expect these teams to split this season series because they do play twice because they are in the same division. I think the Steelers get this one. Exactly. It's a home game as well. I'm going with the home team in this one. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to win this one. Baltimore will find a way to make it competitive, but the Steelers going to get this one. The Ravens win the second one later in the season as long as they stay healthy. But I'm rolling with Pittsburgh for now. Don't be surprised if we see a third matchup of these two teams, possibly in the AFC Championship. These are two teams that are going very far in the playoffs this year. We also have a monster Thursday night football game. Another big-time division matchup. The Washington Commanders going on the road to take on the 7-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Commanders are coming off their first loss of the season to this Steelers team that we've just been talking up for like the past 5 to 10 minutes now. But this Commanders team is very, very good. They only lost that game by 1 point, had multiple things that could have gone right for them at the end of the game that would have resulted in the complete opposite happening. It would have resulted in them getting their 8th win of the season. But they slipped and fell. Short week here, going on the road to Philly to take on the Eagles. Jackson, who you like in this one, man?
I'm going with the Commanders here, man. I really like this team. I like the revitalization of Dan Campbell. Like, I mean, I remember Dan Campbell in Atlanta. I might have been in middle school, but I remember when the Dirty Birds were flying with him, and it was awesome. You know, players love playing for him. He's a player's coach. He had pretty solid defenses in Dallas. I mean, look at their defense now. Dan Campbell did a pretty good job down there, so I really like the Commanders here. I think they're going to get the Eagles. The Eagles just seem like a team with Sirianni making decisions. He makes a lot of questionable decisions. The fans don't like him. There's so much, like, internal conflict there, and I just think the Commanders are like, heck yeah, man. We're 7-3. Let's go.
They're just having they're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, so
they're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and Jaden Daniels, I mean, cheese and crackers, that man's balling. So I just got to go with the Commanders here.
Yeah, I love what I'm seeing from the Commanders. Like you're saying, Nick Sirianni's losing hair basically on the sidelines throughout the games. He's stressing. He's going crazy. He can just go like this, wad of hair for him. And I agree with you. The Commanders have been so much fun to watch. I'm gonna pick the Commanders tonight.
So I'm going to play a little bit of a guessing game with you guys right here.
All right, cool. I'm down.
All right. The Commanders have 7 wins this season.
Mm-hmm.
How many are against teams with winning records right now?
I'm going to go with 1. John's trying to cheat, by the way.
Yeah,
so
heck yeah, I am.
Reed's answer?
I think it's 1.
That's one of them.
John, throw out a
Raiders
number,
answer?
man. We ain't got that much time.
3.
3. It's 1.
There you go.
The
who
only
was
team
that
they've
team?
beaten, the Cardinals.
Okay.
They're a good football team.
They are. They are.
I think that streak ends tonight, though. I think the Commanders get the win over the Eagles.
Do it.
Going into this week, I fully planned on picking the Eagles to win this game. But after watching that game against the Steelers, because I was bought in on the Commanders, but I didn't know how much I was still on the verge here. I was like, how are they going to look against a very, very talented defensive front? And you can only look so good against T.J. Watt and Highsmith and those guys, but they looked darn good. The protection didn't start to fall apart until the very end of the game, and they still had chances to win it. They were short. They didn't convert that 4th down by like less than a millimeter. They were insanely close to winning that football game and getting into field goal range. And then looking at the defense they face in the Steelers compared to this Philadelphia Eagles defense, yes, the Eagles defense has been very improved. Guys like Cooper DeJean have really clicked in this defense and hit the ground running. They've been very improved. The Georgia boys along the defensive front have been much improved as well. The defense has been very, very good. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in Philly, just like y'all alluded to. Nick Sirianni, the head coach, people want him out of there. I'm not sure how much the players love playing for him. There's a lot going wrong here, but there's also a lot of good. Jalen Hurts is back playing big-time football like he was a Super Bowl season. The running game is clicking with Saquon Barkley. The receivers are there as well. But it's so hard for me to pick the Commanders to lose 2 games in a row. So I'm not. I'm rolling with the Washington Commanders here. They have a lot of things going for them. I trust their team. They just added Marshawn Lattimore to their defense. I think if he plays tonight, he's going to make a big-time difference, big-time splash, especially in the matchup against A.J. Brown. Without Lattimore, I might lean more towards the Eagles. But adding Lattimore to that defense has already been playing very, very above commander-level football. That would be the missing piece in locking up this division. I'm going with the Commanders here, but I expect it to be a great ball game, and I'm going to need it to be because I'm starting Saquon Barkley this week in fantasy. I need him to have a great game. Now, before we go, I got to remind you, dining dollars are available to use at the East Commons Pack Shack, the TLC, the Noonan Micro Mart, and in any Coca-Cola vending machine on campus. More information is located at UWG_Dine_West on Instagram. Now, look, it's getting late. You know, this show only runs from 6 to 7. And it's 6:57 right now. So that's all the time we got for Sports Pack tonight, sadly. I wish you could keep going. Look, I could go all night, but we got to stop right now. So be sure to tune in. We will be back same bat time, same bat channel on Monday night. Stay tuned. We love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host, Richard Reed, signing off for John Howley, Jackson Schrader, Brandon Dyer, and Carly. Be safe out there in Colorado. We will see y'all next week. You are now listening to WS.